I think the simple is point really is for all women is that we should demand more of our clothes. We should demand functionality. We should demand things that really elevate our everyday experience and builds our confidence in every piece of clothing that we own and wear every day. So that is Akara, really.
What up, y'all? Welcome back to the Woman's Hustle, Thrills and Spills of Entrepreneurship. It's your girl, Coach K. Thanks so much for tuning in. Before I get started, make sure you have subscribed to the Upgraded Mindsets channel. Make sure you are favoriting the Woman's Hustle on your podcast streaming platform. I'm super excited to speak with the guest that I actually have here today because I know that she's going to bring a very different variation of what entrepreneur looks like for us here in the States. I do want to welcome her. I'm going to let her tell her story before I dive all into it, y'all. So I'm going to let her introduce herself. Hello, hello, hello.
Hi, Keisha. Lovely to be here. Thank you. Thank you
I'm
for
so
having
glad
me
to
on.
have you. Yes, please let the listeners know who you are and what you do.
Sure. So I'm Shradha and I am currently in the United States. So I'm in California, lovely California. I hail from India, of course, and I personally I was born and brought up in India, and then I went on to study law. I became a lawyer, and I was practicing for about 14, 15 years, and then I wanted to do something different and something meaningful, value, purposeful, and something in the stream of I think women and helping or encouraging women and their confidence, etc. And around that time, in around 2015, I got pregnant, so I started my first maternity wear brand in India called
Mm.
Mamakuture. And so it's a huge pivot, huge transition for me. The huge learning curve with zero business background. I think just taking the leap of faith, honestly,
I
is
love it.
I
I love
couldn't
it.
I couldn't have done it without that. And that's it. And then from there, I think it's been now good 9 to 10 years, and I'm on my second or third brand now, and my brand is now Akara, which is in the US. We've launched it recently, and yeah,
I
and I'm a
love it.
mom of a 9, almost 10-year-old girl, and
Oh,
we have two cats and my husband. So,
I
in that
love
order.
it. Right. Oh, it's so great. But like I just in that few seconds, like your story's so inspirational, right? Because you really experienced a lot and you have done a lot. I love like all of the things that you seem to have overcome, but also the fact that you went from a lawyer, right, into creating not one, but multiple brands. And I think that that is just the epitome of what I feel like the woman's hustle is all about.
Yep. Yep.
Diversifying and being different and really wanting to make an impact, because I know you were probably being impactful as an attorney, but the impact that you're making now, with maternity wear over in India, but also bringing things over to the States. So please share a little bit more about your brands. I'm definitely wanting to know. And I know the listeners do
Sure.
too.
Yeah. So I think D2C is a very different animal, right? I didn't know that when I started. I didn't even
Hmm.
D2C itself was a very commonly used term, which we were all just grappling with. And marketing has changed so immensely
Ooh,
since when I
yes.
started. Platforms have changed. Technology equips you in a different level and different way today. So very different from when I started. But my first brand was Mama Couture. It was because I was pregnant. I had my own personal peeve point of not finding sexy, smart, comfortable maternity wear clothes in India. Very surprising coming from a country with the largest running growing population, but
Right.
you know but one of the most I think largest workforce of women in the world, and at the same time women moving from tier 2 to tier 1 cities. When I got pregnant, I was very, very surprised that we didn't have a single Indian brand that was really dedicated just for maternity wear,
Wow.
honestly. And so then that's how it really started, that for the love and respect of women, we should have an Indian grown brand that was really for the climate, the body type, the lifestyle, the life stage of women in India, and how we
Yeah.
bear child, and how we have what kind of life and life stage do we go through when we are pregnant and post, of course. So that was Mama Couture. Through Mama Couture, we came to this realization there was a much larger audience, the audience that was really looking to stay with us a longer time and get the benefit of my experience or our collective experience as a
Right.
community of moms that were coming together was a postpartum, and that's when we came back to the drawing board to really create something that was postpartum, and that's when Akara was born. It was born because moms told us that we need something for a long term solution. We're done with pregnancy, we're done with feeding, we're done with everything, and we're left with a tummy.
Right.
God's blessings in different ways.
Oh, oh
And
my
so,
God.
yeah. So then when we got down to the drawing board and we discovered it was unique construction, something very different, it really worked. So we went on to patent it and we got the patent in India, and that's what we did. So it was very important for us to have a patent, only because we wanted to, equip that brand with that stability that yes, it is
Right.
something unique and new, and that's what we're doing. The audience we speak to, honestly, is amazing. Like, it's pregnant women to begin with, and now it's new moms and postpartum and all the way. But the way the product has, pulled in women, which is almost like saying that, hey, I'm not a new mom. I'm not even,
Mhm.
I'm a 10, 15-year-old mom, actually, and I still need this. So,
Right.
our pivots have been every 6 months, we realize the use cases are different, our audience is different, our messaging then changes, but of course we stay
Mm,
true to the point that we are solving a simple problem, which is tummy control, which
mm,
is missing in our garments. And as we're in 24,
mm,
25, I think the simple is point really is for all women is that we should demand more of our clothes. We should
mm.
demand functionality. We should demand things that really elevate
Yes.
our everyday experience and builds our confidence in every piece of clothing that we own and wear every
Mm.
day.
Oh
That is
my God.
Akara, really.
Whew. So much to unpack. So much to unpack.
Oh my
Oh my
God.
God. Listen, if you are somebody that feels like that you may be struggling with the marketing aspect of things, I want y'all to really go back and re-listen to what she just said, okay? I want you to go back and I want you to listen to the last 4 minutes of everything she just said. You know why? Because it's the importance of marketing. It's the importance of asking your customers. It's the importance of understanding your audience. I have these conversations with those who are seeking to hire me as far as them not even knowing who their ideal audience is. And
Right.
that is like a big struggle. And I
Yeah.
try to, because of course we have that mindset, I want to help everybody,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
logistically in you can't do that. Not if
Yeah.
you're wanting to scale a business, not if you're
Yeah.
wanting to create it, build it,
Yeah.
pivot, and build a legacy, which you are
Yeah.
clearly doing. And I love that you're continuously, because asking our consumers is not a one time thing.
Oh my
It's
God.
something that we have to continuously do over and
Every
over.
day. Every
Yes.
day. Every
Every
day. Absolutely.
single day. What do you think
Yeah.
your challenge may have been like when you did decide, to bring a car to the United States? Did you face any challenges or any obstacles during that process?
It was my second pivot. My first pivot was, migrating to a different country when I was 45,
Yeah.
43, 45.
Right, right. True
My
that.
Yeah, and that's like my entire network, my, 30, 40, 20 years of, building the network and relationships in one country, then, everything there, and restarting. That was one in the US. And literally coming to some country and saying, okay, I'm going to start a brand. I can now understand it's, I wouldn't say it's harder. Yeah, I mean, effectively, it's a bit harder, right? I mean, to
Yeah.
do because it's starting from scratch. I mean, I didn't even know a single person I could pick up the phone and say, hey, can you wear this for us? Can you model it for
Yeah.
us? Can you show us how it's done? Can you, just keep? I didn't even know. Literally, I didn't know a single person that I could say this to. So of
Right.
course so yeah, the first challenge I would say was just the network that we had to build all over again. Just in terms of just starting off the brand, like because the location wise, I had to now have the product in within US or outside of US. So the decision making for the business perspective also was a lot. Like, should we continue sourcing from India or somewhere else, or where will we house it? What's the cost and price
Mhm.
points on that? So all that, the business level stuff had to be reimagined and reset actually. And then there was an actual go to market, which was okay, is the messaging the same? Where do we find the pregnant women? Where do we find new moms? What sort of databases are there in the US? Are there similarities to India
Right.
audiences? Can I use something that I have already done and learned from India business to, can I bring it forward to the US business? So my challenges was really in the very, very early stages was just that, like, I used to get overwhelmed just thinking about, um, can I do this the same way? But I would be like, no, it doesn't really work that way. It's slightly different. I'll give you an example. So Meta ads, for example, was I really believe in, after a certain point of organic, you need to kind of get that boost, and you got to go to Meta ads.
Hmm.
At least for my product, I believe that's a good fit. It's worked for me in India, and it works for me here as well.
Right.
And because I have had to learn it myself, because I wanted to control the revenue directly myself, and so I had to learn Meta ads and Google ads and all of that. It didn't work the same way. And I was so frustrated
Mm.
because India, for, I can get into all the details.
Yeah.
The CPMs are lower, the CAC is lower, so it was better in that same budget. The ROS actually for me in India was much quicker, much faster. Leave aside the cost. It was just quicker and faster. So the
Right.
scale of business was much quicker to achieve, which is surprising, right? I mean, they say the audience in US
Yeah,
is so much
that is
bigger,
true.
right? Yeah. So the scale I reached there was in 3, 4 months, and to which I'm still struggling in India, in the US, which I'm, because the CPMs are so high, so my budget has to be allocated more
Reflected, yeah.
mindfully. So it gets a bit, it kind of chokes the go to market at that point in time. So if I had, let's say, put aside $3,000 for my go to market from the Meta ads, paid ad perspective,
Mhm.
I had to rethink all of that by second month, because that really wasn't enough, or it didn't work, or I had to then have a long runway when it came to that. So that was a very big shift for me, because that was my entire go to market. And I did try and prepare for that, but honestly, I could never. Even today, I think you ask a marketing person who runs Meta as, they'll tell you, I can't give you a CAC, I can't give you
No.
a number. So you've got to run your own ads and then figure it out. So that's what we are
And,
doing.
and I
Um,
love that you said that because a lot of times we won't do that. We will
yeah.
just try to speculate. And, of
Yeah.
course, there's a little bit of speculation, through aftermarket research and stuff like that. But a lot of
Right.
times we won't do it and then go back and see how it
Yeah.
worked. We
Yeah.
will just
Yeah.
continuously try to keep pushing it and keep pushing it and keep pushing it when it's not working. And then that's when the frustration comes in and even the potential burnout and even
Yeah.
the thought of even wanting to give up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that you're learning those things. And like I said, just coming over here to learn that, but also understanding because it sounds like you have a pretty dope growth mindset, understanding that I've got to embrace these things
Yeah.
and I've got to experience these things. This is the only way I'm going to continue to grow. And just sharing that. And I also wanted to bring a point because you, through Akara and your brands, you actually do something that a lot of people that I actually paid attention to don't. And it's actually the D2C, which is the direct to consumer. Can you share a little bit more about that and the difference between that and like the B2C?
Yeah, absolutely. When we do D2C, I think it's like basically it comes down to whether you're okay with doing direct response marketing.
Hmm.
The point is really in that go to market, the strategy, and then saying that, am I okay with dealing directly with consumers directly? Am I going to be able to have a messaging that is on point? Rather than having hoardings and just leaving it a little further away from you, and you're not really on your Instagram phone, like it's so close to you, right? With this
Right.
phone, the consumer is so close to you, that what responses you give them, what FAQs you put out, what inserts you put in packaging, what labeling, all of that is really direct response, right? So that, I think, is a mindset shift that people need to see, that when you are a
Mhm.
consumer centric brand, and even in a B2B, you could be consumer centric, but let's say purely D2C, in the D2C play, if you decide to be a D2C brand, the shift or the focus, I would say, when you start off, has to be, how and what are you speaking with your consumer directly, as if you're
Mm.
speaking one on one. If they respond to you, they ask you a query, what are you telling them? How are you taking them from engagement, awareness engagement, to conversion, to repeat customer, to lifetime value, all of that, right? But each customer, and it's not only about conversion. I think we know that, but that's the
Right.
difference. I would say that it is that direct response. That if you're okay with that, then that's the mindset shift in terms of, you know a one message to many, but this is
Yeah.
direct message to many, and each one is hearing you very loud and clear, actually.
I love
Slightly
that.
different. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I love it, and I love that you broke that down because sometimes we will throw out generic messaging, and just
Mm.
kind of hope it kind of
Yeah.
catches.
Yeah.
So I love that you really reiterated the importance of having that direct like content ready to give to that direct consumer. It's super
Yeah.
important, especially if you're
Yeah.
product based, and I think that that's super
Yeah.
important. What like and then you talked about it a little bit earlier and I want to touch on a little bit again, because I really love community, right? And I really think that it's super
Yeah.
important that as women entrepreneurs we have those that support us just like we support them, but we have those that motivate us and inspire us and keep us on the go as well. How has that been for you since you've been here?
I have, like I said, I had to reintroduce myself to and
Hmm.
build a network which had to then support me in this journey, which is
Yeah.
Akara in the US, right? So that meant really, um, I would say not so much because, by now I knew, I think I would say that I know all the steps to launching and going to market. I know who to hire, what to do. I was just spending more time
Right.
on interviews. I have a very strong belief that you're never creating a new problem. People have done this 10 times over and, come on,
Right,
100 times
right.
over and come out successful. So then I started, really pushing myself through all these podcasts. And honestly, I'm a podcast junkie. I'm very happy to learn. So maybe it was more like that, more not so much one on one. I didn't look to network in that sense, but I had to
Okay.
like, yeah, that's what I feel I did
Okay.
that, and I
I can see
self
that.
educated honestly to
Right.
do it, self educated, and then now that we have our agencies, our team, everybody, so everyone brings their expertise, and now we've learned and all of that. So we're
Good.
learning with them every day, and I feel that they enrich the system every day in the company. Yeah.
Good. I love that. And I think and I'm glad that you do that, and I'm glad that you have that, you've built that. And I know that along with that, because I hope that it's actually giving you the form of like moral support as well to continue to stay focused and motivated, but also accountability. We need someone or something that is going to keep us accountable and
Yeah.
actionable,
Yeah.
and because you're just so passionate and it just shows in your conversation, I know that you have somebody that's helping you or somebody's that's helping you, stay support, keep you supported along those lines. So,
Yeah, yeah. I think the team is really important for me. Every day we spend hours and hours, and it's endless time. That they're like family, honestly.
yeah.
But it's not that huge or large right now because I've just started about 8 months, 6 months ago, and so we're still getting our team together. But I think the moral support point, I think, is one of the most overlooked and under understood pieces of business. I think it is one of the most self discoverable or discovering journeys, I would say, for an entrepreneur founder.
Yes.
It's a very lonely journey. I don't think people understand that. I think people
Woo,
need to
say it
understand
again.
that. And I think network or no network, it's all on you completely.
Yeah.
Team or no team, I think it's completely on you. If you can understand that, it really takes off the burden of trying to guess that every morning. The fact is, it's on you. let's
Yep.
just let's just make that very loud and clear. It starts and ends with the founder, and in a good way and in a bad way. And there's no problem with that because it's something that you've embarked upon. It's something that
Yep.
and you've pulled a team together, right? So I don't think a founder should look for another founder anyway, unless of course a co-founder position. But
Yeah, yeah, for
you,
sure.
but unless you can't go looking for someone, you can't hire more like yourself because then it's a battle of nonsense, really. They're just like tin heads are banging against each other. So
Yeah.
honestly, network or no network, I think it's about be a generalist, try and get every aspect of the business understood by yourself, that when you hire, you're getting someone 10x than that, better
Yeah.
than you, better than what you knew, or better than what you know. If you don't know, it's all right, but if you try to know and then hire someone better than that. So as you want to give off
I
those
love that.
units and departments of your business, you know what you need to, and every 6 months it changes. So if you've run it for 6 months, you need someone who's 10x when you bring them at that 6 month, not when you
Yes.
started on day one, right?
Oh
So
my
so
God,
things
yes.
like that. Yeah, I think
I
model
love what
support
you
is.
just said. Like I do because I don't think people understand that. Like it starts and ends with us as founders and
Yeah.
CEOs.
Yeah.
Yes, I really like to teach and talk about like the entire ecosystems of our business. And because I do this because this is what I share with an upgraded mindsets. You've got to know the entire ecosystem of your business.
Yeah.
Now, whether you do the entire ecosystem of your business is another thing, but
Correct.
you do want to learn it. You do need to
Correct.
know, because for one, how are you going to know when somebody is actually, like you said, 10xing your business for you if you don't know what the
What's
steps are
one X?
supposed to be to get there?
Yeah.
I got to know that stuff, so I know it. So when people are coming to me, I'm like, no, wait, now that's not really what I'm looking for. And then when I tell them
Yeah.
exactly what I'm looking for, they're like, oh wow, well, you have experience in this. I do. I
Yeah.
do. So I don't want you to think that you just getting over on me now. I know what I'm talking about. I
That's
know,
awesome.
So
Yeah.
I love that you touched on that, but I also love that you touched on be okay with hiring somebody to make that happen for you. Because in
Yeah.
order for us to pivot in the business, you have to be ready to make investments, people. I
Yeah.
cannot stress that enough. You have to be ready. You can't start a business if you are not wanting to make some form of investment. It's up to you to decide where that investment's going to be
Yeah.
and if it's
Yeah.
a beneficial. So I think that that's super important.
Yeah.
I know throughout this recording so far, you have shared thrills and spills, with regards to the journey. And I want to say I appreciate you, so much with that. But I would love for you to share like what you think like your time management hack is and what you would like to share with others to kind of help them along that journey.
Sure. Time management is, like I say, running a business is, it's a lot of, it's simple but not easy.
Hmm.
The landmark understanding through, these phases is, when I heard that, I was like, okay, this fits exactly into entrepreneurship. Like, yeah, this is exactly what it is.
Exactly why I named it
Exactly.
that. It is a roller
Yeah,
coaster ride for
it
sure.
is. For sure. If you're on your own and a solo founder like myself, time management becomes very key because you've literally got to be you can literally either put a day for a function as you grow because they take longer time. But when you're small, like I am in my second brand right now,
Mhm.
it basically could be, just taking a list and sticking to that as much as you can, or having parts of days that are allocated to a particular thing. So every day is a different thing, but the first hours are, let's say, meetings and calls. You can't deny that. That you have to keep because the team has to
Right.
keep moving. But the second half is, dedicated to a particular problem solving or thinking time or research for yourself or, updating yourself on something. So I think it's a balance between the work and constantly updating your own tasks because you have your own to-do list. So but you have to be available for team at the same time. You've got to manage your own upskilling as well during the week or month. Another thing I would tell, and new founders, or whenever anyone is in the journey, is that I don't believe in setting daily targets. Honestly, I know it's great to have to-do lists, but because they are so vast and long, and genuinely speaking, if you're a solo founder, it gets impossible to be the one doing everything and doing it well every day.
Hmm.
And there are things that will call for your attention. So I really believe in setting weekly goals instead of daily tasks.
Yeah.
So either doesn't overwhelm me in saying that every day I've achieved, of course, have maybe two priorities and maybe three small priorities in the day, obviously achieve something. But besides that, I would say, I work on a
Love
weekly
that.
task management, honestly. And even for the team, I say, like, don't be worried if you don't achieve something in a day. No one, as long as,
Right.
everyone's working towards that, of course, you have to be deliverable, but you've got
Yeah.
deliverables. But, otherwise, I think that's my time management thing. It's a daily and it's a weekly, I would say,
I
is
can
between that.
appreciate that. I've learned more with myself because we have the default of setting goals and stuff, but what I have learned with myself is to start creating systems.
Mm,
Because creating systems is actually me being able to repeatedly do the same thing.
yeah.
So, if I do achieve the goal, great, but I achieved it because I have a productive system in
Hmm.
place to help me continuously achieve that. So I love that you even touch base on that because daily goals can get overwhelming.
Yeah.
I have an overactive brain, so I can't even lie. I cannot
Yeah.
have daily goals. It is
Yeah.
weekly for me as well, because I will burn
Yeah.
myself out so fast if I try to have like
Yeah.
5 things daily that I'm doing. No, I
Yeah.
have days of the week that I try to do things,
Yeah.
but as far as daily, I can agree with that. So I definitely appreciate that.
Yeah.
So what's coming up for you? What's coming up in the future for you, for Akara and everything else? What's our initiatives going on for 2025
Yeah,
so far?
absolutely. Akara is just a baby right now in the US. We've just launched, so we've launched only with one pair of leggings, four colors. It's basically a very, I would say, a productive garment. So, we're
Mm-hmm.
still learning how it works on bodies and everything. So
Right.
it's still obviously we're selling and we're getting feedback, and it's like a circle that we're doing there, virtual circle. But as for next, I think it is we're getting a pants, trousers very quickly in, and we're
Nice.
getting sports bras and all of that. So we like to then finish this tummy control functionality and this
Hmm.
problem, the solution into clothes that really matter first, which is the bottom wear for women, right? So it could be denim and all of that. So this
Yeah,
year into the next 15 months would be all about trousers and denim
I
with
love
the tummy control that's being launched. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Please let my listeners know where they can find you.
Oh, of course. Please check us out on Akara, which is www.akarashop.com. On an Instagram, you can find us on Akara Shapes You, and same page for Facebook and TikTok as well, I think.
Okay. And of course, you guys know those links will be in the podcast description notes, so you will be able to check that out. I appreciate you so much for coming on here and just sharing your insight. I was super excited to talk to you more about it. You just brought so much value today. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, this was probably a whole little mini course that she just threw in this episode. Okay. So if you have not listened, if you just skim through it, you need to go back and you need to listen and you need to have a piece of paper and pen because she schooled us today on the Woman's Hustle. All right. I appreciate you so much for being here. If you're interested in having a conversation about stepping into your purpose as an entrepreneur, elevating your purpose, figuring out what that looks like, looking for the purpose behind why you want to build your business, then let's have a conversation. Purpose planning session, first one is always on me, but you already know you can check that out at www.upgradedmindsets.life. So we are out of here, y'all. Make sure you subscribe and we'll talk to you soon. Bye, y'all.
Thanks, Keisha.